Hi, everyone, and welcome. We're your hosts. I am Justin.
And I'm Chalee.
This podcast is a space where we explore practical ways to nurture your mind, body, and spirit to create a happier and healthier life.
The content of this podcast is intended for informational and educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional mental health advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Listening to this podcast does not establish a therapist-client relationship. If you are experiencing emotional distress or mental health concerns, please seek support from a licensed therapist or a qualified healthcare provider.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Today, in this episode, we're going to be talking about some myths about therapists and being able to humanize this a little bit more. So, kind of as our name says, between sessions, so a little bit of like the behind the scenes of what this looks like.
All right, this is going to be fun because Justin has not heard these yet.
Oh, I'm excited.
So we're going to talk about them. All right, so let's see. Thank you, ChatGPT, for giving us this list. So the first myth is therapists have it all figured out.
No.
We are so perfect.
Oh, right.
We have our entire... I am the perfect parent.
I mean, your spreadsheets could rival ones of banks, to be honest, but goodness.
Okay, so it also gives you a truth. So I'm going to read the truth. It says, we're humans first.
Yeah.
We struggle with anxiety, relationships, parenting, and stress too.
To be fair, kind of with that, many times therapists, social workers, goodness, kind of anything within this realm, there has to be some passion towards it. And many times that exists because of the lived experience in this. So many times it can be like learning the skills that are helping us and then feeling compelled to be able to share that with other people. I know for me, that was a big thing that went into us developing and starting the podcast was there's so many things that 5 years ago, 2 years ago that I did not know that have been able to be so helpful. But I just thought that I was living life the way that it was supposed to be. And I didn't really question it too much. So thinking about that piece of like having it all together, no, I definitely did not have it all together, but I'm getting it together. The farther that I go, the more coping skills that I learn, the more I'm able to ask questions and be around people that I'm comfortable with sharing things that I've experienced and being able to realize that at the end of the day, people are just human.
I'm very open about my mental health because I really try to destigmatize mental health because I feel like there is a stigma around it. So I struggled my entire life, but I didn't get any sort of intervention until after I had my son.
Wow.
Right, almost immediately after, a couple weeks, and I got diagnosed with postpartum depression, which was really hard. That was the first time I had gotten a mental health diagnosis. That was the first time I was prescribed medication for a mental health issue. That was the first time I went to therapy.
Wow.
So I was 25.
Okay.
So that was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have used it when I was like 15.
I think even on that note of it, like just mothers in general, or people in general, but postpartum is a really tough one because it's many times with mental health stuff, we feel like it shouldn't be going on, but I think a lot of times with postpartum, you really feel like it shouldn't be going on because that's your child. That's what you just brought in. How do I feel this way?
Okay, so I don't want to get too into that because that could be a whole other topic. With postpartum, it's really hard to understand until you've lived it, but there's a lot of feelings of guilt and shame, and and loneliness. It feels very alone. You can be surrounded by people, but you just feel so alone. So yeah, no, I'm a big advocate. Do I have it all figured out? No. I'm still on mental health meds. Love it. And I still see my therapist every other Tuesday.
And that's with being a therapist.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Wow. I appreciate you sharing that piece.
You need an outlet. Like you got to think, we hear everything. It takes it's a toll.
Vicarious trauma. It exists.
And so, yep, I am very stick to my schedule.
Yeah.
My therapist got married. She had to take an extra week off. I was like, whew. But
how dare you?
I made it through. No. But it's really important to have that outlet. So no, we don't have it all figured out. Also, I'm winging parenthood. Like, it's trial and error. I will happily give parenting advice, but with a disclaimer of I have screwed up a lot. So here's what worked versus what didn't work as far as
The
like
lived experience
yes,
piece.
but I mean, I'll tell people if they say like I need to learn how to be a parent and I'm like, girl, me and you both, we can go on this adventure together, but
Sometimes that conversation just helps normalize it.
mhm.
Because, being a therapist many times can be a position where it feels like there's a lot of separation between working with the individuals and then what your life looks like outside of it. And it's, I mean, again, kind of talking about this topic in general of just normalizing that piece that there's struggles across the board, and sometimes we deal with it a little bit better. Sometimes we really need to reach out, and there's no shame in that. And we're all experiencing new experiences each day that might be a little bit challenging to overcome.
For sure.
Something that I want to add on that one, a difference of being in substance use versus mental health has been so interesting because you get to show up a little bit differently as a social worker than as a KSAC. And in substance use, it's very much like designed to be that like blank slate. You're very much a counselor. You're not giving advice. And in social work, there's a little bit more of that human aspect to it, which I think is so beneficial across the board. Having that, whether it be lived experience or just that passion of whatever the topic is, and allowing the other person to know that we're learning from each other. And what you come in with might be the first time that I'm hearing about something like this, and it's a learning experience for both of us, and we'll get through that
I've had
together.
that happen.
Yeah.
Or I'm like, oh my gosh, I will say, like, I've never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
That's so enlightening for me. Thank you.
Number 2.
Okay, number 2. Okay, therapists just sit and listen quietly.
Ooh, that goes
Justin, when do you
along.
ever sit and listen quietly?
That is, I repeat questions because I don't want there to be silence at times.
Ooh,
That's been
that's a
something
good
I've worked on,
topic.
though.
Okay,
Yeah.
I had to utilize therapeutic silence hardcore in a session, and it's tough. It's like you have to like
Uncomfy.
yeah,
Yep.
because I don't want the person to think that I'm not engaged, but it's like sometimes you just have to sit because if you're uncomfortable, they're uncomfortable. They might have more to say, but utilizing therapeutic silence is good. But
whole different concept for me that I had never, because I wanted, okay, I need to make this session the most impactful, to get the most out of it. And really, sometimes that comes with just sitting in that space and holding that space for someone, being able to experience that emotion with them.
Yep.
And maybe this is the first time we're experiencing this in a safe space or in a different way.
Yes. So could be true. However, on the flip side, sometimes I am down on the floor playing in a kinetic sandbox, or my gosh, I can't even just like think of the weird things I have done in play therapy.
So different.
Set up a whole store with my fake cash register, and yeah, it was great.
Wow.
So yeah, no, we don't always just sit there and listen. A lot of times it's a lot of back and forth. Yeah.
I didn't think about that part with like, introducing the play therapy piece of it. That is, you are moving around, you're following the kid, you're here up and down the hallway. We're just kind of figuring out whatever they want to do because they get to lead that session. That is very different than like working with an adult in a session. That typical like coming in, sitting behind the desk, and someone sitting at the couch. It looks so different in different settings with different populations.
Also, I've had people like leave their first session and be like, that's not what I thought it was going to be like. I'm like, ooh, can you elaborate?
Yeah.
And a lot of people have this view of therapy. Like you said, I'm going to sit behind a desk. I'm going to have my clipboard. I'm going to analyze you. And I'm just going to repeatedly ask you how that makes you feel. It's true. And I like, this is how I show up to session. I am a real person. I'm not going to dress up in a suit. Like, I'm not doing it. We're going to be comfy. This is literally what I look like. I like this chair, actually.
Isn't that nice?
Like, this is nice. I will sit comfy. I'll sit crisscross applesauce. Yeah.
I haven't worn socks to my internship since I started. So I have had
My
open toe shoes.
supervisor teases me sometimes because like in between sessions, if I'm gonna like, because we're in a little office all together, so like it's, you have to walk into the office and then there's other little offices. Okay, so I'm
Yeah.
not running around like a communal hallway, but I will walk down our little private hallway barefoot. Like I'm
Yeah.
always barefoot all the time, and it's like become a running joke
I think better work
that
comes from it.
nobody ever sees me in shoes. But you know what? I don't care, because my people come in and they look at me and they're like, okay, she has no shoes on. She's sitting crisscross applesauce. I'm going to take my shoes off. And now everybody
Yeah.
comes, they're like, I'm going to get comfy. And people get really, really comfortable. And they tell me, like, you're not what I thought you would be.
Mhm.
And I was like, you know, thank you. I think good thing, good.
Thinking about that, even the field has changed a little bit over the past like 5-10 years. Like just with the work that everybody is doing with destigmatizing this, it doesn't have to be kind of the worst case scenario. It can be coming in and having that
Mm-hmm.
relaxed session and really getting something out of it where many times I know, I had always thought it was super clinical, like white jacket, white room, sit in this chair with metal legs. That's not a conducive environment
Mm-hmm.
to want to talk about things. If I can sit crisscross on your couch, I'm going to share probably a little bit more because my guard is down a little
Yep,
bit more.
for sure.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. All right, I like the next one, so let's move on.
Ooh,
This
number
one's really
3.
good. Number 3, therapists analyze everyone in their lives.
Oh God, ask my husband about that. That tends to be a conversation. You need to take that hat off now because it seems like you're judging me or you're analyzing me. Yep.
Yep. Can I tell a quick funny story?
Of course.
Okay, so when I first met my husband, I shockingly was very nervous. And so I googled some conversation starters. So if the conversation went dry, I could ask a conversation starter. And I saw this one, and it was like, would you rather be a fish or a bird? And I'm like, oh, that's cute. So we're sitting there, and I'm like, hey, if you could choose, would you rather be a fish or a bird? He got so nervous because he thought that this was some type of like
Yeah.
psychoanalyzing tool that I was using to like diagnose him. And so he didn't answer, and he took like 3 days to think about it.
To have
And
the perfect answer. What does it mean?
and he was just it was so funny. And I'm like, dude, I don't do that when I get home.
To be fair, he probably was like, this is the determining question.
No, really. If you ask him about the fish or bird question, he will tell you. Like he thought that was gonna like make or break the relationship.
Yeah.
Yep. He'd be a bird, by the way. I think.
Mm.
I think he said bird.
Okay. I like the bird piece.
Yeah, right? That was hilarious.
I know that a lot of times I do try to like analyze the things that are going on. And I think that's because I try to be very solution focused. Even in my own life, what is the best way that this can be handled? But I know that has come off in the past where it didn't really feel that way. So that's something that like I've had to change some of the language that I've used. So my husband had talked about like every time that you say that it makes sense, he's like, I feel like you're just analyzing me and you're gonna give me a diagnosis. I'm like, no, that's not what it is. But I do really find it interesting. Or like, that makes sense. It adds up. But
Mm-hmm.
I can definitely see how that's like a myth or something that's always thought about.
Also, guys, diagnosing is hard.
Yeah.
We do not
God.
just walk around going like anxiety. Oh, there's this. Like
It's so complex.
you have your DSM-5.
I don't have it here.
Okay.
It's at work.
Because like our diagnostic book is like this
big,
thick, full of like
small
and
print.
you have to meet certain criteria. And maybe we can do a session where we kind of like pick out some different diagnoses, because people think like, I don't know, like I'm sad, so I have depression. It's like, no, you gotta look up the DSM-5. There's so much more that goes along with it. So really, we can't just randomly diagnose you from a conversation.
Nope.
Like we really can't. It takes a whole, we assess, and it's not as easy as one might think. Like
the other side, it's like unprofessional or like unethical to, throw out those diagnoses for, in just that normal conversation or continuous conversation.
That's a great point. Yes.
Because that diagnoses carry some weight, and it's not really appropriate to do that.
Yeah.
Where that could be something that sticks with someone's. Yes, do I tend to look at things and like try to pick it apart? That's kind of just the way my brain works. Sometimes
Mhm.
I say it out loud a little bit more, but no, not like diagnosing to try and create a treatment plan for
I
every individual we
love that
run
you
into.
that you brought up like the ethical
Yeah,
piece of it, because if somebody is not your client, you cannot ethically diagnose them. Great point.
yeah. Thank you. Very cool.
All right,
What
now
do
do
we?
I analyze and judge Love Island a little bit?
Yeah,
Little bit, but I don't diagnose anybody. But I'm definitely analyzing what's going on.
pulling out that DSM.
Mm. Oh, all right. Hold on. I'm gonna skip through. Oh, okay. Here's one. You brought up the advice. Myth: therapists always give advice. That's what I thought.
Ooh.
I first experienced the opposite when I went to therapy.
Uh huh.
And oh God, I hope my first therapist is watching this. I'm going to send it to her because she made me so mad and frustrated because I went in and I was
Oh, fix
upset.
it.
Yes. And I'm
Fix
like,
it.
fix me. And
Yep.
then I would bring something up and she would say, like, so what could you do? And I'm like, I don't I don't
That's what you're here
know.
for.
That's why I'm here. Just listen, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. Just,
Yep.
tell me how to live my life so I am happy and I will do whatever you say. She didn't. And that is something I have had to work on really hard because I am, like you said, solution
Hmm.
focused. And, when my friends come to me with a problem, I'm like, oh, let's solve it together.
Right.
And I want to offer all these solutions. And I've really had to like take a step back and when I'm with clients because I have advice, but we need to find a way or like we need to find a way around it
Hmm.
because I want to empower my clients to make those connections themselves.
And this is like the really uncomfy part, is like it comes with some struggle,
Oh, it does. You
you
have to bite
know?
your tongue sometimes because you're like,
Yeah. And then even on the client's end, like they have to have it be realistic and worth it for them. If that first therapist that you had and she answered every single question, did you develop those actual skills or did you get told what to do?
right.
And
Mm-hmm.
heck yeah, it'd be easier to be told what to do because like then I can just do it and things will be better.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what happens with that next thing that comes up? What happens when something similar comes up and it's that trigger, but we didn't actually work through it? And we
Oh, yeah.
just, well, we just knew what to do that time.
I don't want just the answer now. I don't want the answer. I want to understand how to get to the answer. Like, I want to understand how you got there. Like, as a client, I want to understand how my therapist got to that
Hmm.
answer. So, but it is tough because sometimes you're just like, oh, girl, just do this and try that and do that and you'll be good. And it's
Hmm.
like they need to be empowered to come up with these solutions themselves.
And because maybe that worked well for you, this is something, I mean, it obviously shows up in mental health, but in substance use, that journey is so different for every person that that
Mm-hmm.
perfect thing may have worked for this person in the five last and maybe you, but it may not work for this person. What if we tell them that that's, exactly how it's going to work and it's going to be perfect? Then it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that brings up a whole other piece. Then it gets into trust. Then it gets into, leading someone in the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
for sure.
advice, I think, is such a common myth that comes with, like with going into therapy or seeing a counselor, kind of any of those things is like, here, just fix it.
Mm-hmm. And
Be
also,
great.
I don't always have the answer. I
Mm,
am a human. I don't always have the answer. Sometimes the client and I have to work together to come up with a game plan because
yeah.
I'm like, geez, that's a tough situation. I'm
Hmm.
not really sure. Let's break it down and figure it out together.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, I don't always have the answer.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that human piece of showing up and be like, yeah, I don't know. This is a first. Let's
Mm-hmm.
figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
You get to gain something from it. And then the individual gets to know that, wow, okay, this is actually something that's going on and it's not just perfectly done. That kind of takes the textbook piece out of it, is working
Yeah.
with someone to empower them. Real life shows up and it doesn't always look great and it can be a little bit messy.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Do we have time for one more?
yeah,
Okay, let me find another good one.
perfect. I like the number 5.
Okay, myth. Therapy ends when the session ends. Now, there's two pieces to this.
Okay.
Okay, both client and therapist.
Ooh.
So,
Ooh.
Let's focus as a
Okay.
client first. Therapy ends when the session ends. I hope not, guys. Come on. Like, an hour a week is not enough. Like,
No.
we're going to give you tools to utilize. We might give homework. I don't give a lot of homework, but we might give you
Yeah.
homework to work on. We set goals for the next session. So,
Mhm.
like, okay, when I see you again, this is the goal I want you to have reached, or, no, gosh, no.
It truthfully, I think of most of the work is done outside of the session. And
Mm-hmm.
I know that sounds so strange because I'm like, what are we doing? Why are we coming? But it's we can talk about the things and we can develop those skills. We can put together our toolbox, but it's in the real life situations when this shows up. Can we implement those?
Yes.
Can we put that into play? And then our life actually gets better.
Mm-hmm.
We can go to therapy for years and still be so anxious that we can't leave the house, and that's the tough part that comes with that is we have to be able to do those things outside of the therapy room to make that life better outside of that.
For sure. And I am very open with my clients, and I will say,
Hmm.
like, you will get out of this what you put into this. I don't have a magic wand. I wish I did. I wish at the end of
Right,
grad school they just passed you the magic wand. I
right.
don't have one. So the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. If you show up for therapy and that's it, that's an hour of work, and then you do nothing to work on it until the next
Hmm.
session, you're you're not going to succeed with your goals,
No.
because, like Justin said, it's real life. It's implementing that real life aspect. Like, if somebody has social anxiety, you're not going to feel better working one-on-one with me and then not using those
Yeah.
tools in a social atmosphere. So you need to really utilize them outside. What about therapist wise?
Interesting.
Does the session Does therapy end when the session ends?
So I don't know if there, I mean, I guess I'm sure there's probably like a right or wrong answer, but I feel like there's some gray area in this one.
I feel like most of their
Yeah. Oh
career
yeah.
is gray area. All right, so
What's your thoughts?
no,
Okay.
no way. First of all, if I have a tough session, one of those, I don't know, let's figure this out together
Right.
sessions, I might, bring it to the table at supervision
Yeah.
and, kind of seek guidance from my supervisor.
Hmm.
Um,
Your peers.
but also, I can't shut my brain off when I walk out of the office or when I
Right.
close out of Zoom. Like, no, my clients are on my mind. Like, if I know you have like a big project coming up on Friday, like, no, you're going to be on my mind. I'm going to say, like, oh my gosh, it's Friday and so has their big project. Like, oh man, I hope it goes good. I can't wait to hear about it in the next session. Like,
Mhm.
no, I 100% think about my clients sometimes
Yeah.
outside of session.
And I think there's a healthy aspect to that. At the end of we've talked about this kind of through and through. Humans showing up at the end of the day, and the people that we work with, there is care.
Mhm.
And so being able to know that at the end of it, like I want to then have the next session. I'm gonna think about that in between. Are they doing their goal? What do they have going on? I think there is a point that it can become unhealthy
Good point.
where we're
Yes.
really taking it home. And I've been in that experience, and that was a piece that had really factored into my burnout was the boundary piece. I was taking it home with me and I wasn't shutting my brain off at all, and that became problematic because then I wasn't showing up as well in the sessions with them. I was maybe thinking about different things that were going on while I was trying to concentrate and meet with someone. So I think there's the two sides of it that we're human, and
That's a
it's
good point. So
yeah.
what do you do if it is, because, like, I have those nice little thoughts where I'm like, oh, it's Friday and they're doing
Hmm.
this and hope it's going well and that's it. But what do you do when you start bringing it home? Because I've done this.
Yeah.
What do you do when you start bringing it home to the point where it is negatively affecting your home life?
I had to really participate in self care. I had to do things that were good for me, that I was able to separate from work. Not that work was bad and home was great, like it wasn't better than or less than. It was that I need to use my time wisely so that I can replenish and I can pour into my own cup, because I still need to exist outside of the employment piece of it. So like for me, it was really big for self-care. It was developing those boundaries
Mm.
and being able to say, oh, I know this is going to sound a little strange, but like, okay, I can think about this for like 10 minutes, but then I got to be done.
No,
Yeah.
okay, so I know I just said I don't give advice, but when I do give, like, okay, let's work on a goal
Mm-hmm.
or something like that, I will tell people, like, set a timer. Give
Yeah.
yourself 10 minutes to focus on this
Mm-hmm.
thing. Focus on it. You can cry, do whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but when that timer goes off, that's it. We're gonna put it to the side. Like, you can only give it so much of your energy.
And with that, so the opposite side, there is also so much reward within this that like I get really excited to share some of these things. And, keeping confidentiality in mind, like I'm not sharing, anything identifying about the person, but I do get so excited about those wins when I have someone that I'm working with and they accomplish something that's so big for them. Like I share that with them. And I know there's mixed stuff on if that's like healthy, not healthy, but like I think it's so empowering for them to be able to know that like someone's in their corner
Oh my gosh,
too.
I tell my clients all the time, like, I am so proud of you.
Yeah.
You did excellent. That was great decision making. And I will
Yeah.
tell them, like, I know it's going to sound corny for me to say this, but like, I am so proud of how much, like, how hard you have worked. I say that all the time.
For some people, especially adults, you might be the only person that's telling them that.
You say especially adults, but teens too.
Yeah,
To,
teens.
to hear
Yeah.
somebody say that they are proud of them it's very
Hmm.
empowering.
It also sometimes sounds different when it's someone who is not specifically like obligated to say that. Like
Mhm.
I know with me, like there are certain people in my life that I know are going to say that, but like they might say it out of obligation. Not that I think they do, but in my head, my brain tries to
Right.
play that trick
Yeah,
where,
no, like, you're my mom. Of course you're proud of me.
yeah, exactly.
You're gonna
Where,
be proud of me if I, use a spoon to eat my soup. Like,
right. But being able to know that like this is someone that has, worked through whatever that is, or you see the steps that they're taking, it's great to celebrate that win for
mhm.
them also with them. Not taking that credit or anything like that, but just celebrating that with them and knowing, because sometimes I know for myself, this is something I've worked on of like celebrating the wins for myself and
Mhm.
not feeling guilty about that. And I'm
Yes.
sure the people that I've worked with have also felt that a lot of guilt and shame of like, well, I'm accomplishing this, specifically thinking like substance use wise. There's things that I've had people accomplish that they never would have thought they would have accomplished, and so to share that with someone is so
And you need to
empowering.
celebrate the little accomplishments. I
Yes.
think that is part of it too, is they have
Mm-hmm.
this overarching goal, but it's like we need to
Yes.
celebrate the steps to get there too. Those are all
The thoughts,
accomplishments.
the phone call, the
Hmm.
whatever those little things are, it's each the piece of effort that goes into that larger goal.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, ready to wrap up?
Yeah.
All right, guys,
We got through 5.
we got through 5 myths. We would love to do more though. So
Mm-hmm.
if you have any
Ooh.
myths about therapists that maybe you've
Hmm.
heard or you believe, please drop them in the comments so we can go through them. And other than that, let's see, any suggestions for topics, any questions at all about either of us, we're
Hmm.
pretty much open books.
Yep.
So leave your comments and we will see you next time.
Thank you so much.
Bye,
Thank you for
guys.
joining.